What's going on? It's your man Jose, aka the Dominican Dream, for the boxing roundtable alongside my man Maniac, and we are ready to talk boxing. Sean, very big card coming up, possibly the most anticipated boxing card of the year, one of the most complete, if not the most complete boxing card of the year, or in many years, for championship bouts. Headlining is the must see, all action, never disappointing David Benavidez, the monster, the Mexican monster, versus Anthony Yarde out of the UK. Big, strong, power puncher, naturally 175 pounds. Um, this is must watch TV. You gotta watch it. And on the same card, Devin Haney versus Brian Norman, the return of Devin Haney after his performance and his victory over Jose Ramirez, which to many was a disappointment. He was on his bike, the epitome of being on your bike against Ramirez, and a lot of people had negative things to say about that fight. But now he fights one of the most dangerous punchers in boxing, and he's fighting him at the full welterweight limit. So I don't know if he fought Ramirez at the full welterweight limit. I think it might have been, not sure, but it's still a very intriguing matchup because you got one of the hardest punchers in the sport currently against one of the guys that is considered to have the lowest punch resistance and to be the most chinny in boxing, and that's Devin Haney. So that's another intriguing matchup. But you got the much better boxer who should be the much better boxer in Devin Haney. So you got skill, movement, boxing ability versus punching power and boxing basics in Brian Norman Jr. And then, of course, we can't forget, to me, the number one, the best fighter in the sport, the most complete fighter in the sport, and I think underrated fighter because of his weight class, and that's Jesse Bam Rodriguez. Finally fighting a fight that's been talked about for a little while, and that's against El Puma Martinez out of Argentina. Another undefeated fighter, I believe, and a guy who has a contrasting style as well. He does what he comes to do his job, but he is a brawler. He's not a boxer. He's the guy that's gonna throw punches. Like most Argentinians, I'm sure he's packing a little power. And another very intriguing matchup. All these fights could be main events on their own, right? For the most part. Last but not least, fan favorite prospect. Now in chat for now going for a championship, I believe, against Sam Noakes, Abdullah Mason, top ranked promoted fighter, against Sam Noakes, who was probably from the UK, I believe, correct?
Yeah.
How excited are you for this card, man?
No, man. A great introduction, man. You brought it in well. Absolutely the most anticipated card of the year. I don't think that's even up for debate. We have a lot of action-packed fighters. In fact, of the four fights you mentioned, Dream, only one fighter has a loss, right? Technically, Devin Haney should have a loss, but that was erased from the record books. So technically, only Yard is the only fighter of those four championship fights that has an L. So you look. Let's start. Let's start from the bottom. Let's start from the bottom, which is Abdullah Mason versus Sam Noakes. You got both fighters. Abdullah is 19-0 with 17 knockouts. Sam Noakes is 17-0 with 15 knockouts. So they both have high knockout ratio. Now, we haven't really been high on the UK fighters. We respect them. We understand a lot of them are heart. They have heart, but they don't got resolve. A lot of them don't really have dog in them. And they just get outclassed. They outskilled. A lot of them, majority of them. Now, Sam Noakes, he's a fighter. He's not a skilled fighter. He's not technically sound. He's more of a brawler kind, but a reserve brawler, not someone who's gonna be reckless. You know, he gets after it. So Abdullah Mason, being a young fighter who's now a contender because he's fighting for a vacant belt now. We've seen him get dropped about 2 fights ago, twice to be exact. He got up from that fight, end up winning via stoppage. So this is a interesting fight, Dream, because if he gets dropped again, Abdullah Mason, how is he gonna react? And Sam Noakes is a fighter that looks like, from what I've seen, can finish you. But again, and Abdullah, although he did go through what he went through, he still lacks an experience. Let's be honest. He hasn't been fighting no world beater. So this is an intriguing matchup. I'm very intrigued. Now, of course, you have to um go with Abdullah. You have to favor Abdullah in this fight, right? Southpaw, young, strong, American. Americans normally win these kind of fights. So I'm going to go with Abdullah in this fight, but it would not shock me one bit, Dream, if he loses this fight. And not only loses this fight, loses it by stoppage. Because this fight is going to end in stoppage. I could promise that. If you're going to put money on this fight ending in the stoppage. Both fighters have similar styles. Abdullah's a little more, technically sound, a little more athletic, a little twitchier, and he's a little, he's smarter. To me, his IQ has a higher IQ than Sam Noakes. But I'm expecting this fight to set the tone for the night, man. I think it's gonna be a very good fight.
All right, man. As far as those two, I can't say much about the Sam Noakes fight. I do know Abdullah. I've watched many of his fights. Now as a up and coming prospect. And I like Abdullah Mason. I think there's a little overhype on him because, he's still very green. He's so mature. He's still very green in the ring. He lacks patience. And we know he lacks patience because in a lot of these fights in a few of these fights where he's been knocked down, is because he's been so eager to prove a point or to prove that he can knock the other fighter out or hurt the other fighter, that he doesn't take his time, and he therefore skips steps. And in skipping those steps, he has exposed himself defensively, and he's been knocked down and hurt, seriously hurt, against at least two opponents. So, contrasting him to, let's say, somebody like who's about the same age as he is and is up and coming and is top rank as well, and Emiliano Vargas, we've seen Emiliano be aggressive but do it strategically and be patient. So to me, he has the best blend of patience and aggression that I've seen in a fighter in a very, very long time, especially to be 21 years old, like both of them are. I think Abdullah's 20. I don't know. Emiliano's 21, or they're from anywhere from 20 to 22 years old. And Abdullah can perhaps come back and get away with that against lesser fighters. But when you continue to step up in competition, you have to be careful, man. You can't be over aggressive. I love aggressive fighters, but there's such thing as being over aggressive. So I don't know if Sam Noakes will be the fighter, given like you said, he's from the UK, and not to disrespect them, but they do have some good fighters, and they have had very good fighters in boxing history and lately. But we know that the Americans have had the better fighters, right? So that's that. I think it's going to be interesting to see Abdullah Mason in the ring again, but he hasn't fought anybody or anybody near a name. So, and this guy Sam Noakes to me is no exception because I've never seen him fight. I haven't heard him. So I'm sure a lot of other fans haven't as well. I'm sure they're eager to see Abdullah, but again, what's this fight gonna prove? I think they're bringing him up like they should, given his his hitting the canvas several times against lesser opponents. I think they're bringing him up slowly, and they're letting him just get some rounds under his belt, some experience, learn when to be aggressive and when not to. So whatever. Let's see what happens in that fight. Now the other of the following matchup, which to me should be the co-main event because it could be a main event on its own. It's a super fight. It's a super fight of the little guys. I don't want to parentheses the little guys and say a super fight for the little guys. No matter what size you are, a super fight is a super fight. It's a super fight. It's the two best in the division, or two of the best, both undefeated, both hungry, both young, both in their prime, and you can't ask for better in boxing. Unfortunately for them, they don't have the notoriety or the exposure of bigger fighters. But as far as quality goes, anytime Jesse Bam Rodriguez is in the ring, you're getting top notch quality. You're getting the best of the best in boxing. And like we mentioned here on the show before, if you like boxers that could stick and move, they use their intelligence, they got ring IQ, ring generalship, you want like Jesse Bam Rodriguez. Now you like knockout artists. You like guys that come forward, go to the body, are aggressive, let their hands go, or take a punch to give you one. You want like Jesse Bam Rodriguez. Whatever you want, whatever kind of boxing you like, this guy has it because he's a five-tool fighter. He really is a five-tool fighter. He has it all, and he's continued to prove it. And at such a young age, you're talking about young guys in Abdullah and Emiliano. This guy is 23, 24 years old himself, maybe 24, and he's already a multi-division world champion. And he's beaten bigger, and much more experienced fighters. And not only has he beaten them, but he's beaten them soundly or stopped them. This guy is the killer. This guy is, just a pleasure to watch. It is superb what he does in the ring. And, he's fighting a style that, he's the boxer puncher going against a puncher. And and an aggressive fighter in Puma Martinez. And we know Argentinian fighters are known to carry that big punch. So, you never know. You never know. Bam should beat him, and he's a heavy favorite in the odds. But I think I'm still I'm gonna go with Bam, but you never know. You never know in boxing what's gonna happen. Now on to the big fights that people are looking forward to, and of course the main event: Anthony Yarde Benavidez. Benavidez is a star in his own right, or is becoming a star in his own right. And of course, you got the social media name, the guy that a lot of young people have known for years because he's a part of that Rat Pack. That Ryan Garcia, that Tank Davis, Devin Haney. If you know one of them, you know all of them, right? Those are the three most, media friendly, most exposed fighters in that division. A close fourth is Shakur Stevenson, but those are the guys that a lot of people know, that a lot of casual fans know, and he's in a real fight. He's in a real dangerous fight against a big puncher. Break down that fight. I got my own thoughts, man. I got a series of thoughts on that fight because there's quite a few ingredients. There's quite a few factors in that fight that are intriguing to me in a good way and in a bad way.
Yeah. Um. Well, look, man. You have the boxer versus the puncher, right? And Haney and Norman, and the fight. The reason, and I get it. Norman The Normans are notoriously known for strategically picking their opponents, but I really do think they want smoke at the same time. Me personally, like this, it's going down. This is Haney's debut at 147. This is his first fight at 147. Ramirez's fight was at 140. So he's making his debut against the biggest puncher at 147. They said we went right for the smoke. We got to respect that. Whether we like the Haney's or not, they frauds. We know that. No one's debating that. You got to respect it. He didn't go to fight Barrios. He didn't go to fight what's the dude's name that Boots? Stop. Stanionis. he went for the youngest, hardest puncher in Brian
I mean,
Norman.
Stanionis is a dangerous fight too for
Yeah,
Devin
but
Haney.
he just his lack, not being in the ring a lot. But anyway, we saw what Norman did in his last fight. Bro, it's like he almost caught a body. That was almost homicide, what he did over in Japan. After that knockout, you know, his ratings just went up from there. And he just seems dangerous. Again,
And,
Haney, we know.
and also, let's not forget what he did to a guy that might have been better than a Japanese guy, and that's what he did to Santillan.
Oh yeah, Santiago, that fight was a hell of a fight, man. Hell of a fight. I didn't expect Norman to win that fight. But
And to stop a tough, gritty Mexican fighter, in a tough fight
and,
because he was in a tough
yeah.
fight. That's
And he beat him in his
Mexicans don't
style.
have that. Yeah, and
He beat
Mexicans
him, he
don't
beat
have
him
that
in his
that
style.
yeah.
But see, I think with Haney, this is where Norman is gonna have trouble. This is where he's gonna run into trouble. Because Haney is not gonna stand in front of him. If one thing they learned, the left hook. Norman has a nice left hook. Not as good as Ryan's, but he has one. And you mentioned it to open the show. Puncher, basic. That's exactly Norman's boxing ability is a basic skill set. Basic jab, basic combinations, nothing out the woodwork. The guy is strong
A
and he's a
tremendous punch. He's
yeah,
so people understand what you meant.
yeah.
He's a tremendous puncher with basic boxing ability.
Yeah, very basic. But Haney is more of a master boxer compared to the two fighters. So you understand, look, the plan is simple. Haney, what they're gonna do is stay on the outside. They're gonna use a jab and they're gonna movement, angles and movement. Now, if he can't cut off the ring and apply a pressure effectively, he's gonna be in trouble because I don't think he could win a boxing match versus Haney. Now, this might be a boring, ugly one if it's the fight that I'm thinking it's gonna be. Which I know the Haneys are not gonna be stupid and try to stand in front of him and prove a point. So, can Norman cut off the ring and can he outbox Haney in spots? It's a simple. It's real simple. And if he could do that, then I there's no doubt in my mind that Norman wins this fight. But if Haney's having his way and he's using the jab and he's doubling up the jab and then he's going to the body and he's moving and he's turning Norman and Norman is looking flooded, bro, it could be a long day for Norman, man. I can really see it. I can really see Haney winning this fight and even winning, dominating Norman. And I can also see Norman going in there and winning a tough, close fight and even knocking Haney out. If someone is going to get knocked out on this fight, to me, it'll be Haney. But I'm also eager to see how he feels out at 147. Not saying he's going to become a puncher all of a sudden. What I'm saying is maybe when he lands something on Norman, you might say, "Oh shit, what was that?" He kind of stunned him. You just never know. So it's to me that's gonna be the things I'm looking at. Can Norman cut off the ring and can he outbox Haney in spots? If he could do those two things, I think he's gonna win. And Haney, I'm not saying to clinch every time Norman is close. You got to get his respect somehow, but just stay on the outside, use a jab. A very similar game plan to the Jose Ramirez. And if he does that, he has a good chance of winning. He has to make it a boring, ugly fight.
Look, man, I've said on this show and to you on and off the show that this one of the things that pisses me off the most about fighters and about corners are when fighters come into a fight not using, not trying to implement the advantages that they have over the other fighter. Great example, Canelo against Terence Crawford. We saw he came in lean for the fight, came in trying to, I guess, compete with Terence Crawford in a boxing match. You are the natural bigger man. You were supposed to be the bigger man in the fight. We've seen fighters that can't punch try and punch with a puncher. That's a losing proposition. And we've seen fighters that are not boxers, that are big punchers, trying to box with the boxer. That's another losing proposition. Now, Brian Norman has commented on in quite a few videos and interviews that he's going to show the world that people are sleeping on him, that he's not only a big puncher, that he can box too. He can. If you can box too, you're not going to be well. You're not going to box as good as Devin Haney. Not even nearly as good as him. Use what you got. Use your power. Use your size. Use your ability to take a punch. Take two to give him one. Now, if you go in there trying to pick and poke and trying to use what you think will be superior footwork against Devin Haney, then you signing up to take it to take a L. You signing up to get outboxed. Because fam, one, he's coming to your division. He's already the smaller man. He's already the man has been historically chinny. You knocking niggas out in your weight class, dismissing them. So you gonna give an opportunity for a guy that's coming up in weight by moving on him, trying to box, trying to jab and move on him and see, try to show him that you could play his game too. No. You gotta go in there and bulldoze this dude, man. You gotta go in there. Sure, there's ways to be, you don't have to be a complete brawler because at the end of the day, Brian Norman is no Ricardo Mayorga. He's more of a, how can I say it? I don't know who I could compare him to. He's a guy that he has basic boxing ability. He's not a volume puncher. He's not a balls to the wall kind of guy like Marcos Maidana. But that's who he has to be looking at. The style he has to be looking at to beat a Devin Haney. Maidana didn't go in there trying to pick and poke against Broner. He didn't go in there trying to pick and poke against Floyd Mayweather. That's why he had the success he did against both of them. Now, if his corner would have been stupid enough to say, "Yo, let's just keep him at the end of the jab and wait," we'll try. Nah. His corner knew what Marcos Maidana's specialty was. He knew that Marcos Maidana, Robert Garcia, he knew that Marcos Maidana, he trusted his power. And they went for it. And they did very, very good. Right? Not he beat the shit out of their Adrian Broner, and in many people's eyes, including mine, beat Floyd Mayweather in the first fight. That's why they had a rematch immediately after that. Floyd didn't have many rematches in his career. Only fights that he, knew were very close and that he didn't like the result or what the people thought of the fight. So that's what you have to do going into anything, in any sport. You got to go in there using your advantages. Now, Norman has been talking a different kind of game. And I've been watching him training and I see moving around, jabbing the bag, moving around, trying to use footwork and everything. And it's like, bro, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to beat Usain Bolt in a race, man. You know what I mean? I'm not going to try to do that. I'm going to try. It's something else I got to try to do to beat him at whatever I'm trying to beat him at, not at racing. So, I had Brian Norman as a big favorite in this fight, and now to me is a toss-up. It's a toss-up because if he's going to give Devin Haney that chance, and it's going to play into the Haney's hands, like you said, the Haneys, you know what they're coming to do. If people think that he's gonna be more aggressive than he was against Ramirez, he wasn't aggressive against Ramirez, who's a shot small 140 pounder. You think he's gonna be aggressive against Brian Norman? Can he do it one round in a spot or two? Sure, but he understands. He can't sit there. He can't sit there. So
Facts.
what? So what does Norman have to do? Norman has to do two. The best way to cut a fighter off, no matter regardless of who he is use a jab, go to the body, and use your feet to come forward. That's how you cut a fighter off. Look at Conor Ben, the extraordinary performance that he put forth against Chris Eubank. Small, much smaller man, but you know what he kept working on the whole night? That jab. How you gonna get out jabbed by the much smaller man? He was pumping that jab, pumping that jab. That jab is the key to anything in boxing. Now you got a faster guy in Devin Haney. You got a slicker guy in Devin Haney with better footwork and better boxing ability. Use your jab. Use your jab. When you stick that jab, that's like a mosquito. That's like you driving a motorcycle and you got the mosquito in your face and bro, I can't even enjoy the ride because these damn mosquitoes, these bugs keep coming in my eyes. And next thing you know, bang, you hit another car because you was thinking about the bugs. That's what a jab does. Keep that jab, go to the body on them, come back up top, rough them up. That's it. That's all you got to do because you're not gonna outbox Devin Haney.
Yeah.
Anyway, who do I pick in that fight? It's tough. It's tough because again, if Norman fights the fight that he should fight, he should not just do that cold. He should embarrass him because Ryan Garcia was able to do that, and we know that he has zero to nothing. He has none. He has little to none to no boxing ability. But what helped him out is his hands are so fast that even if you are a boxer, you can't. Sometimes you just can't get out the way because Norman doesn't have that kind of speed. He got better power, but he don't got that kind of speed. So, um, yeah, man, I'm still gonna favor Brian Norman, but I think that if he implements the game plan that he should, if he fights a pressure fight, I think he'll get him out of there. And if he plays a lot into Devin Haney's game of boxing, then he's gonna give Devin Haney a big chance to win.
Yeah. No. No doubt. I agree. I'm gonna go Norman myself, man. And it should be I mean, I think the fight is gonna be either two. It's either gonna be a boring fight or a good fight. I don't know. I don't see this being an exciting action packed fight. So I'm gonna go Norman as well. Um, a decision. I'm gonna go split decision.
But I do
Brian Norman.
see, I do see an upset alert if he
Yeah,
fights. If he tries to box Devin Haney, which again he shouldn't. And I'm saying an upset alert because I'm sure there's a lot of people picking Devin Haney, but um the odds say that Brian Norman is still the favorite going into this fight.
yeah,
David Benavidez versus Anthony Yarde, big light heavyweight matchup, all action fight. This is all action fight, almost guaranteed. Nothing's guaranteed in life, but that's almost guaranteed. What do you think about that one?
yeah, man. I love this fight. I love this fight for both fighters. One, David Benavidez, like you mentioned early in the show, he is must see TV, and he's gonna deliver every time. He's like Uber Eats. They gonna deliver. It don't matter. They gonna deliver. So Anthony Yarde, this is also a redemption fight, right? He has three losses. Two of his three losses have come via stoppage. He lost to a young Kovalev, which was nothing to be ashamed of. Kovalev was a killer in his time. And then he lost to Better Beef. And then he lost to Lyndon Arthur, which he beat recently in the rematch. But that was by decision. So Kovalev and Better Beef stopped him. Benavidez is yet to stop anyone at 175. This is his third fight at light heavyweight. Yarde is a natural strong thudding power. He's strong, dude, man. He has that thudding power. He has a very good body attack. The thing with Yardy, though, he has a low guard. He comes in with the right hand low and kind of the left shoulder. Not like a Philly shell, but he kind of comes in very similar. And one thing David Benavidez doesn't get enough credit for is a jab that he possesses. He bots. He's like a car, man. He knows how to start it up. He warms it up. He just doesn't go and put his foot on the gas right away. But once he starts, it gets crazy. So look, this fight is simple. It's going to be a fight, a brawl. If if Yardy can land some flush shots on Benavidez, I'm very eager, Dream, to see how Benavidez take those shots. Remember, Benavidez was dropped in his last fight against Morrell in the 11th round. Now, by it, he wasn't hurt. It was more like a flash knockdown, nothing crazy, but he still went down. Yardy is a bigger puncher than David Morrell, and he's a bigger fighter, and he's more experienced, especially at that weight. So we can say what we want, man. If anyone says Yardy got zero chance, doesn't know boxing, man. Absolutely. He's not washed up. He's still dangerous. Benavidez needs to fight kind of smart here. But knowing Benavidez, he likes to prove something. He's a macho man. Oh, you're not tougher than me. Body Dream. This is going to be a body contest. Who could get to whose bodies first, and who on top of that, who's gonna imply they will. And I'm gonna say Benavidez, right? I think if he keeps applying that pressure, body, come behind the jab, aggressive behind the jab, and go to the body, then I think he wins a tough fight. But it's going to be a tough fight for him, man. I think Yardy understands this is his last hurrah. This could be his last big fight. So, and if I'm looking, I'm saying, yo, bro, he can't take one of my punches. Absolutely not. So I'm eager. I want to see how Benavidez reacts to the first punch that Yardy lands on him, because he's gonna land on him. But I'm gonna go. I gotta go with the Mexican monster, right? Just a fresher, better fighter. I just think he has more dog than Yardy. But again, this is 175. But I'm going Benavidez decision. I don't even think he stops Yardy, but it's going to be a bomb burner.
Yeah, look, man. I mean, to me, I think that fight is quite simple when you watch tape to break down. The much better fighter by far is David Benavidez. He's the more experienced fighter. Both, um, the guy's been fighting since he's 6, 7 years old. He's a kid or early teen. By the time he was 14, he was sparring world champions just with his brother, who was, you know, um, looked at as being the better Benavidez was Jose before, and we know what happened to him. He got shot in the leg, and David turned out to do more with his career than Jose did. I think when it comes to skill, when it comes to overall talent, overall resources, ability, it's a mismatch. It really is, man. I think that what makes the fight a lot more even is the sheer size and the tremendous power of Anthony Yarde being a real natural. Yo, that guy has to walk around. I don't even know how he makes 175, man. But that guy's when he does come in at 175, he's gonna be pure muscle at 175. When Benavidez weighs in at 175, he's gonna be bone, like 80% fat, and then like 20% muscle. Like the makeup is totally different of these guys, man. Um, that being said, I'm going to give Anthony Yarde a great puncher's chance because that's all he has, in my opinion, in this fight. And I think we're going to see Benavidez box like we did in the Morrell fight, using his boxing ability. Boxing doesn't only mean sticking and moving. Boxing means strategically putting your punches together, or breaking somebody down again, strategically using jabs, body work, and blocking. And Benavidez is actually he has one of the greatest punch to defense ratios in boxing, believe it or not. So he's one of the boxers that hits the most, but would getting hit the least in comparison to his offense. And it's because he's a smart fighter and because he's been sparring such great fighters since he's a young man. So look, man, I think Benavidez is gonna school him. I think Benavidez. The only thing that can really hurt Benavidez is if you know Yard proves that he really can contend against a real 175 pounder. And why do I say a real 175 pounder? Okay, because let's take it back. He fought Bosdick, who is at the tail end of his career in his first fight. Didn't look impressive. Yeah, we still saw the motor that he has, that but he didn't show he couldn't hurt Bosdick. And then he fights Morrell, who just like himself was new at 175. That was both their second fight at 175. And, did he look impressive? Yes. But he wasn't able to bulldoze through David Morrell, despite really, really trying to bulldoze. He couldn't put him away. And David Morrell is much less experienced professionally than Anthony Yarde, but Anthony Yarde is much less experienced in his career completely as a fighter, because he only had 12 amateur bouts. So when you compare that to David Benavidez's pedigree, that's what I'm telling you, that is a mismatch boxing wise and skill wise. And really the only thing that y'all got going for him is that true 175 light heavyweight size. So if he can prove that Benavidez really doesn't belong up here at 175, if there's anybody that can prove that, or that could give us a little glimpse of that right now, it could be Anthony Yarde. I think Beterbiev could, but I think Beterbiev is also, you know, 40 years old, so we don't know what he has left. He was supposed to fight on this card, and now he's not. So, um, yeah, man, I'm gonna go with Benavidez, and I'm gonna go with Benavidez by stoppage. He's gonna be his going. Just show that he's just a much better boxer, because Anthony Yarde, he fights shy. He doesn't fight confident. For his size and his power, he does a lot of picking and poking, and he does a lot of extra movement in the ring that he shouldn't. Watch the better be a fight, man. A lot of movement, a lot of movement. Wasn't able to. He's just not confident. I don't see him as a confident fighter, and I think he should be confident because he has the power to knock anybody out. So going there, man, like fuck Benavidez. I get knocked out, I get knocked out. But I'm gonna go in there and try to knock his ass out. Right? If you do that, then you're gonna give yourself a much better chance to win. But if you're in there picking and poking and trying to see what you're able to do round by round or in the later rounds, you can't wait against Benavidez. Because
No.
the time that you waiting, Benavidez is gonna be accumulating punishment on you. So I just don't think Yard has the resources or the tools to beat Benavidez. I got Benavidez by stoppage.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going Benavidez too, just by decision. So I got Norman, I have Benavidez by decision. I got Bam stopping Puma in a hell of a fight. I think the Sam Noakes, Abdullah Mason, and the Bam and Puma fight, those are gonna be back to back drag 'em out fights. I think both of those fights end in a knockout, almost guaranteed. Bam is just like you said, man. He's just too good. He's arguably the best fighter in the world, the most well rounded, especially offensively. My goodness, there's nothing he can't do offensively. It's just it's just beauty watching him, man. So Bam by stoppage, and that's a unification match. If he beats Puma, he has three of the four belts at 115. And I'm gonna go Abdullah. I'm gonna go Abdullah by decision.
All right, man. Well, I got Benavidez by stoppage. Brian Norman, Devin Haney. Again, I'm really disappointed in what I'm seeing from Brian Norman. So to me, that's up in the air. I did say Norman earlier, but it's just I would not put money on that one. I would put money on Benavidez. I would put money on Bam, even though I shouldn't because I haven't seen much of Martinez. And as far as the Sam Noakes Abdullah, we shall see because I don't know Sam Noakes like that either. Look, that's it, man. Share, like, and subscribe. We're gonna keep the videos coming. Look out for the post fight videos because
Yeah,
we definitely got
well,
to do
I'm
some
gonna
post fight.
try. I'll be at a football game Saturday,
Oh,
a college game. So I'm gonna try to do the immediate. The game is at 4 o'clock. I think the main event might be starting because it starts at 3 o'clock. So the game might be finishing when the main event is starting. So let's see.
yeah. Well, if you can't get on, I'll probably get on or record a post fight video or something because I know depending on the results, I think whatever results we get, the internet's gonna be buzzing. Everybody's gonna be talking about the fight. So and it's early on in the day because it's in Saudi, so it's not gonna be 1 in the morning or nothing like that we're doing the show. So I'm looking forward to that as well.
All right.
All right, man. You already know, man. Share, like, and subscribe. Until next time.
One.